This is just a sample of the audiobook. To get the complete audiobook, access the link posted in the first comment.
The new America. Before achieving those victories, however, Marshall fought countless battles for human rights in stifling antebellum courthouses, where white supremacy ruled. Neither judges nor juries in the Jim Crow South had much interest in Marshall's nuanced constitutional arguments. To Marshall, the representation of powerless blacks falsely accused of capital crimes became his opportunity to prove that equality in courtrooms was every bit as vital to the American model of democracy as was the fight for equality in classrooms and in voting booths. On Marshall's journeys, when the moon lit the passing landscapes of the South, he customarily drank bourbon, and he enjoyed the company of the night porters. They'd joke and talk together in segregated cars, atop suitcases and the occasional casket. Or, sitting in the coach car, Marshall would drift in and out of sleep to the lullaby of the locomotive, its plaintive cry announcing every crossing as it rolled onward, southward, closer and closer to the benighted towns, billeting hostile prosecutors, malicious police, and the Ku Klux Klan. In the rhythm of the rails came the whipping of the wind, as again the dream descended on him, and in the wind the massive black flag unfurled outside the offices of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, NAACP. And as a pall fell over Manhattan's Fifth Avenue, he read again the message in stark white letters on the flag's flapping black field. A man was lynched yesterday. The photographs were always horrifying. Shirtless black victims, their bodies bloodied, eyes bulging from their sockets. Of all the lynching photos Marshall had seen, though, it was the image of Reuben Stacy, strung up by his neck on a Florida pine tree, that haunted him most when he traveled at night into the South. It wasn't the indentation of the rope that had cut into the flesh below the dead man's chin, or even the bullet holes riddling his body, that caused Marshall, drenched now in sweat, to stir in his sleep. It was the virtually angelic faces of the white children, all of them dressed in their Sunday clothes, as they posed, grinning and smiling, in a semicircle around Reuben Stacy's dangling corpse. In that horrid indifference to human suffering lay the legacy of yet another generation of white children who, in turn, would without conscience prolong the agony of an entire other race. Quote, I could see my dead body lying in some place where they let white kids out of Sunday school to come and look at me and rejoice, Marshall said of the dream. 17-year-old Norma Lee Paget had that look. Chin held high, lips pursed, when in her best dress she slowly rose from the witness box to identify for the jury the 3 Groveland, Florida boys whom she had accused of rape. Like the, quote, sworn truth of the fictitious Mayella Ewell, the white teenager accuser in Harper Lee's To Kill a Mockingbird, Norma Lee's dramatic testimony against the Groveland Boys tore a county apart. Her pale index finger extended, it dipped from boy to boy as she spoke out each name, like a young schoolteacher counting heads in class. And her breathy cadence sent a chill through the courtroom. Quote, the nigger Shepard, the nigger Irvin, the nigger Greenlee. And like Harper Lee's heroic lawyer, Atticus Finch, Thurgood Marshall found himself at the center of a firestorm. It would bring the National Guard to Lake County, Florida, where mob violence drove hundreds of blacks from their lives in Groveland, and in the aftermath, it would prompt 4 sensational murders of innocents, among them a prominent NAACP executive. Despite the fact that Marshall brought the Groveland case before the U.S. Supreme Court, it is barely mentioned in civil rights history, law texts, or the many biographies of Thurgood Marshall. Nonetheless, there is not a Supreme Court justice who served with Marshall or a lawyer who clerked for him, that did not hear his renditions, always colorfully told, of the Groveland story.